Airbenders! Why are you acting this way? You are powerful and amazing people. You don't need to live like this. There's Earth right beneath your feet.
Yeah, exactly. So then why don't you just, use the Earth? It's surrounded with you. I just explained it earlier. This is stupid. There are about 4 really boring action scenes in this movie, and this is one of them.
This is embarrassing.
After that pathetic excuse for a fight, I'm starting to wonder how the Fire Nation even managed to take over the world in the first place. So after our heroes save the town, they are given a waterbending scroll as a reward. And then they also figure that there are other towns that might be in danger as well.
They prey the weakest towns and villages. We should go visit some of these towns on.
I need to tell you something.
Alright, great. Can you back the hell away from the camera first? You look like you're gonna eat the damn thing. Funny thing is, when this movie was released, it was released in 3D. So imagine people seeing this face in 3D, they'd probably crap themselves thinking that they're gonna be eaten alive.
Why did you run away? The day they told me I was the
Abudar.
They said I could never have a normal life. That I could never have a family. They said it cannot work with the responsibilities of
Abudar.
Why can't the
Abudar.
Abudar have a family?
I asked that. They said that's a sacrifice the
Abudar.
always has to make.
What kind of bullshit is that? Your job is to restore balance to the world and master the 3 elements. That has nothing to do with not having a family. In fact, even if you weren't to run away 100 years ago and still commit to being the Avatar, you can visit your family and friends all you want. Just simply say you don't want to be the Abudar, and that's it. God, this movie's stupid. So our heroes travel to the Northern Water Tribe to find a waterbending teacher for Aang, while helping other townspeople that are under siege by the Fire Nation. Meanwhile, Zuko is hot on their trail as well.
The scroll we had was proving to be helpful. Aang was practicing, but for some reason, he was having trouble with waterbending.
Logically, based on molecules of water and air are fairly similar to each other, that means they coincide with how they move naturally. So basically, Aang wouldn't have trouble with using waterbending as opposed to airbending because they both work in a similar way. I mean, I could say that because I know it based on the show, but I'm just saying based on logic of the lore here. But the movie doesn't care enough to say anything about it, nor does it really care enough to just acknowledge that what they're saying is complete and utter bullshit. But if the movie doesn't care, why should I? So Commander Zhao travels back to the Fire Nation, where he meets this guy in a robe and talks about his plans.
Our spies have discovered someone claiming to be the Avatar. We should set a trap for this person.
Let's hope, for your sake, my son doesn't find this person first.
So what the hell was that picture from earlier? Oh god. This stupidity hurts. It hurts so much. So Zuko and his uncle hang out in Fire Nation Colony 15, where they talk to this random boy about more exposition about his past, because, we haven't had enough exposition in this movie.
We're going to be sacrificed in a battle.
And Prince Zuko was sentenced to an Agni Ki duel.
Agni Ki? It's Agni Kai, you fuck.
It was his father he was to fight.
That's right.
He would not fight his father. The father burnt his son to teach him a lesson.
So we go back to our heroes talking more about exposition about a dragon spirit. I honestly really don't care. But it leads Aang to the Northern Air Temple, where he meets a guy who leads him into a chamber of statues, and we're talking about more exposition, or for God's sake!
He gave me a test. He put 1,000 toys in front of me and asked me to choose 4. I said I chose the...
Why can't you just show me what you're trying to tell me? Why do you have to tell me through exposition? I don't care if it's through words. It's filmmaking. Just show it visually. God! I'm nearly halfway through this movie, and the biggest problem already presents itself. Aside from the fact that the movie exists. It doesn't know how to pace itself well. You see a couple of montages that go by so fast, and a bunch of sequences and parts of the story that just glossed over just to make room for everything else in the film. But everything else is mostly just regurgitated exposition that's slowed down to make sure that you know absolutely everything that goes on, and it's not really effective storytelling. I mean, it's sometimes even to the point where the narrative itself is completely stagnant. There's no flowing in the story. There's no consistency with anything that goes on. And not only that, but it sacrifices a basic character development. Something you should never sacrifice in a movie. Shyamalan, you have a gift of ruining everything for everyone.
I have lived in poverty because of your absence.
Abudar.
So you will understand my actions today.
I don't think that small bit of change is gonna save you from poverty, man.
I lived in poverty because of your absence, Avatar.
Is this really their interpretation of the spirit world? I mean, we've seen this multiple times, but even still, it looks so cheap.
It is filled with the most amazing forms, dazzling creatures that exist in the most exotic valleys, mountains, forests.
It looks like somebody's backyard. So Aang is captured and chained up by the Fire Nation under the commands of Commander Zhao.
My name is Commander Zhao. I set this trap for you. Don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you. Besides, you'd just be reborn again, and then the search would continue. So where have you been all this time? And how is it that you're still a boy? I understand that when you freed that handful of towns, you were very impressive, but you only used airbending against my soldiers. Now, why is that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because your soldiers suck at fighting. So a guy with a blue mask goes into the territory and rescues Aang, and they attempt to escape, but not before going through an ass-numbingly long and boring fight scene.
Everybody focused, everybody got it together, and it's one of my favorite moments in the movie. You know, it comes down with the blue spirit, the camera's going, the extras are gone. And it's one of my favorite moments in the movie, you know.
So Commander Zhao finally steps in and stops the horrible fight scene, and lets the two leave the castle, only for his men to shoot an arrow, knocking him out instantly. Then it's revealed that, oh my god, it was Zuko this whole time, who cares?
And how did he escape?
I fear that your son is not only incompetent, but also a traitor.
Why are they covering his face here? Does the movie forget that we already know what he looks like? Does the movie think I'm stupid? It's stupid for thinking I'm stupid.
Do not harm my son. Leave him to his isolation.
You have my word, sire. I will not harm him.
So Zuko returns to his ship to rest when suddenly he realizes it's a trap. That tiny-ass explosion would not have killed him. He would have had ample room to just dive out of his ship right as the explosion was happening. He would have easily survived. Why does everyone from the Fire Nation suck at their job? So now we return to our heroes, who finally make it to the Northern Water Tribe.
We arrived at
are, are you telling me? Are you seriously telling me that was okay? Are you telling me this is okay? Are you fucking kidding me?
Aang showed them he was the last airbender and was accepted to train with the master.
Alright, I think it's finally time to mention this. The bending in this movie is really inconsistent. Like, sometimes it doesn't know where to move with the actors, but sometimes it does. It's really, really annoying to see. In fact, I feel really bad for the actors. They put so much hard work into the choreography that none of the effects really coincide with that. It's like the actors are like, hoo ha, yeah, I'm a badass. But then the effects are like, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll just throw in fire and the water and oh, he can throw a rock at him and so flies from the like fuck it, right? It's shit like that that really pisses me off with this movie. It's like they don't care. It's just really frustrating to see. So this guy who's supposed to be Aang's teacher strategizes on how to beat the Fire Nation with a small number of people. Apparently, I thought you would have conveyed this to your entire army, because there's a war going on. And why are you doing this out in the open? Like, shouldn't you do it in, like, closed doors? Where civilians aren't there, where you won't cause them to freak out? Like kind of how a town works in a war situation?
If we keep them to the courtyard and the marketplace till night falls, where we have the advantage, we will succeed. If we let too many of them into this city, their sheer numbers could overwhelm us. As many fires in this city should be put out as possible when the alarm sounds. We want to minimize their vendor sources. Great.
I'll keep that in mind. So the next few minutes are pretty boring. Zhao talks to the Fire Lord. Aang and Katara are in waterbending. Zhao and Iroh talk to each other too. Iroh is hiding Zuko under the ship. And then Sokka and Yue talk to each other. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care at this point. I just want to get through this shit. So while the Fire Nation begins to invade, and Zuko finds his own way into the city, Aang talks to Yue in hoping to find a spiritual place where he can meditate.
Aang? Aang, can you hear me?
He just said he was meditating and needs to focus. And yet yours like, Aang, can you hear it? No, bitch, he can't hear you. Alright, he's meditating. So Zuko finally shows up and the fight between him and Katara finally ensues. But first of all, where to get the torch? I thought they were supposed to limit the resources of the firebenders. And you got a torch just in his hand, this big ass torch just in his hand like he's running for the first Olympics. And he's just like, hey, I got a torch, gonna put it on the floor, and then that's where I get my source of fire because I suck at building fire of my own. You know what? Everyone in this movie should just be a pacifist. I mean, if you can't fight for like a good cause to protect your home, then you might as well not fight at all, because no one in this movie can fight worth a damn. So the Water Tribe finally gets ready for war, but not before this hilariously bad battle cry. So after Aang gets kidnapped again, he's left to sleep in the spirit world, talking to the dragon spirit very briefly.
As the
Abudar.
You are not meant to hurt others. Use the ocean. Show them the power of water. Go. Do this now.
Always a special one. She was a firebending prodigy. Her father loves her. You can't even look at me sometimes.
Did they catch Dev Patel just rehearsing his lines like off script? And Shyamalan was just like, no, it's fine. Just keep rowing. He won't notice. It's not a big deal. So Aang and Zuko get into another boring fight scene with each other. until Katara finally comes in to save the day. You know, there's a lot of lit torches around here. What was the thing that the dragon spirit said earlier?
As the Avatar, you are not meant to hurt others. 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 You are not meant to hurt others.
Zhao and Iroh find the moon spirit, but Zhao goes out of his way to kill the moon spirit, turning everything into Bloodborne.
Fire out of nothing.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of you could do the same thing. Wait, are you telling me that out of all the firebenders in the entire Fire Nation, Iroh is the only person who can shoot fire out of his hands? There is a character that they're going to introduce that could shoot fucking lightning out of her hands. And you expect me to believe that only one character out of the entire Fire Nation can summon fire from their entire body? This is the most pathetic set of villains I've ever seen in my entire life. So Princess Yue realizes that she can give life back to the fish and to the moon spirit, and she does so in order to save everyone.
I killed you.
You didn't even leave a scratch on his face. You couldn't even kill a fish. He didn't really need to do all that. Honestly, he's so pathetic of a fighter, he could have done that to himself. Aang uses the power of water to finally scare away the Fire Nation and send them home packing. Aang finally accepts the role to being the Abudar, finally putting an end to this piece of shit movie. Oh, and there's also a cliffhanger about the Thunder Girl I mentioned earlier, about her showing up to the rest of the story, but it doesn't matter. It's never got a sequel, so who cares? So yeah, I hate this film as much as anyone, and I love this show as much as anyone, which is why I found it pointless for this movie to even exist in the first place. I remember when people were furious when they saw this movie and they thought, it didn't represent the show at all. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, I don't really blame them for thinking that way. But honestly, after watching the film for myself, I don't think I can get quite as angry as everyone else can. Not to say that I like it by any means, or even say there's anything positive about it. There's hardly anything to say anything positive about it, but I don't think it's worth getting angry over. Because I didn't really expect going into the film just being excited about the whole thing. In fact, I was more skeptical than anything. The red flags I mentioned earlier was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of how bad this movie was going to turn out to be. But nobody else saw it and was expecting greatness, but they never got that, which is why everyone else came out of the film so furious about it. I mean, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be optimistic about films before going into it, but I feel like they should see the reality of the situation before they actually jump into something that they know they're gonna hate. This movie was dead on arrival from the start, and I wish we would have known that sooner. If you think the Netflix show is gonna do much better, I honestly can't really say as far as that. Personally, I'm fine with what I have, and I'm sticking to that for life. So a little bit longer than I anticipated this video would be, but if you guys stuck around through the whole thing, then thank you. Thank you for watching the whole thing. And if you like the video, then, like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I'll see you guys in the next one. But don't expect to wait too long, because I'm only doing this part-time.